Yo, what's going on, everybody? Commissioner here with another podcast. Week one is over, everybody. We had some close games and some not so close games. Also had some big injuries occur. I'll go over a few of the notable ones, along with some quick game reviews of all the week's matchups, as well as a review of the first trade and a couple of the notable free agent pickups. All right, notable injuries that we had this week. Allen Robinson with a torn ACL. That's gonna hurt. Luckily, he was in Mikhail's flex. Maybe he has some other options now. David Johnson, wrist injury. A bad game overall for the Cardinals. He's probably out for what I heard, 12 weeks. Could be maybe the season. Also, Danny Woodhead had a hamstring injury, same one he injured last year. Golden Tate's fingers in a splint, and for someone who's a PPR machine, it could affect his catching. Danny Amendola, concussion. Sebastian Janikowski, well, he's a kicker, but he's on the IR, and he was actually rostered and still played this week. And of course, Kevin Alshon is my hero. White. He had a collarbone injury or a clavicle, and it's broken. Just going to the injured reserve. We had a lot of big injuries this year, guys. At least in week one so far. Uh, Start checking that free agent waiver wire list, and don't forget you are allowed to bid $0. If there's someone you want a little bit more, bid 5. If you don't think anybody's going to bid on them, take the risk and bid 0 or bid 1, because if you bid 5 and nobody else bids, you're still spending the $5. All right, on to the game reviews. But first, I have a quick question of the week, and the quick question of the week is, does anyone need wide receivers? Because, god damn, my wide receivers scored too many points, guys. I don't know what to do. They scored too many points, and this leads me into our first game review. First review of the week. Evil Doc at slight work of a score of 92.7 to 160.2. This game, Frank got spanked hard and good, and I enjoyed spanking him. Frank had some dud games with Duke Johnson and only scoring 3 points, and Jameson Crowder who scored less than a point. At least he had Ty Montgomery shine, and Matt Ryan did as expected. Keenan Allen at least scored, also saved his point total. I, on the other hand, had some big games leading into this week's top overall score. I had 4 players, including all of my wide receivers, with over 23 points, and 2 players with just under 20 points. Big note here is that Frank did lose Jay Ajayi because of Hurricane Irma, and it hurt his chances of getting spanked less. Looks like also Hurricane Irma's passed, moved up north a little bit, so hopefully it'll be over by week's end. Second game review is Pocket Dogs at Say Hello to the Bad Guy of a score of 74 to 125. Here, Jordan had decent play from his higher draft picks, but didn't get too much from Jimmy Graham or Eric Decker. Caused him to have a lower point total, around the average actually of this week's, and his Texans defense, who I actually thought was going to be good this year, got owned by a Blake Bortles-led offense. That's not good. Also, Reg actually had his best player as the Rams defense, picking on the luckless Colts. And his leading scorer after that was actually his rookie running back, Dalvin Cook. Reggie actually even had some decent games from everybody, giving a little here, giving a little there, which led him to have the highest or second highest point total of the week at 125. Our third game review this week is Fail Mary at Fried Spam and Eggs with a score of 98.3 to 76.7. Josh had Kareem Hunt go bananas, unfortunately on his own defense. So instead of scoring 46 points, you take the -8 from the Patriots. Hunt really scored only 38. I mean, he was still able to pull off the W. Everyone else on his team sucked taint juice. Well, fortunately for him, Angel still lost. Angel could have actually won, but he started a tight end who wasn't playing over a tight end who would have scored him enough points that he would have barely won. Yeah, he started Hunter Henry, who didn't play this week against Denver, and he sat Austin Hooper, who scored just above 22 points, and he lost by just about 22 points. Sorry, Angel, just not going to work out for you this week. And also, what hurts the most is losing David Johnson, possibly for the year. Ouchies. Passing the halfway point, we have the fourth game. Tasha Rain at Hard Knocks with a score of 75 to 102.4. This week, Aaron Rodgers was only outscored by the Panthers defense for 16.1 and 17 points. Devontae Freeman was the only other player to score more than 10 points for Corey this week, which is what led to was actually average this week for the losers. But he also had 4 players with under 5 points. That's what led to that low score total. And Josh actually had a couple of 20-point scorers in Adam Thielen and the Eagles defense. And he was the one who actually started a kicker who was put out to the injured reserve right before the game, Sebastian Janikowski. Luckily for him, though, Zeke's suspension is suspended for now, giving him a little safety net since everyone else on his team was actually under 10 points, including Timothy Bunchen. Our fifth game this week is Barkin Guns at Vitamin D with a score of 75.9 to 61.7. And when I was writing the notes for this podcast, I said to myself, damn, it's like Mikhail almost forgot to play people, but he didn't. And then he still didn't even score the least amount of points this week. Actually, for his squad, at least, Melvin Gordon was the only one who scored more than 9 points. He scored about 16 or just under 16. Allen Robinson is one of his players that he actually lost, most likely for the year, last I heard, with a torn ACL. So that sucks. And in this matchup of former champions was still uneventful as Trey only scored around the average of the league, and his leading scorers were Jordy Nelson, followed by Zach Ertz and Cam Newton. And to be fair, he has a nice squad, as well as Mikhail, that all players on both squads just underperformed this week. I expect better things from both teams in the coming weeks. Unfortunately, it just didn't work out for either of them this week. Well, for Trey it did. Sorry, Mikhail. And in the last game review, we have Motorboat and Sons O' Bitches at Team Darkness with a score of 113 to 52.8. TJ found a way to score less than Mikhail did this week. And it was mainly because of his little ginger at quarterback, Andy Dalton. The Red Rifle decided to throw 4 picks to an amazingly hot Baltimore defense who shut out the Bengals, who were supposed to have a good offense this year. Fortunately for him, LaShawn McCoy played well despite not knowing what the future holds in Buffalo. I still don't trust the whole thing in Buffalo. I think they're trying to tank. I think by season's end, they're going to get rid of Tyrod. I think they're going to get rid of LaShawn. They got rid of Ronald Darby, who's their best defensive player almost, and got nothing for him. Jordan Matthews is nothing, so we'll see how that ends up going. For Fred, he got a good win here. Just his actual leading scorer was the Jaguars defense, which I believe, according to my research, was the second highest score behind Kareem Hunt this week, league-wide. No one else on his team excelled except actually Tariq Cohen, rookie running back, on his bench, which did better than his sophomore running back Jordan Howard. Yeah. Also, another thing of note was Phillip Rivers scored 17 points against the vaunted Denver defense, and almost won and almost led the Chargers to a comeback until their Asian kicker missed a 44-yard field goal after making it the first time. Sucks to be a rookie. All right, there goes your game reviews for the week. Hope you guys enjoy that. And now on to the trade review. And for the trade review, our first trade of the season, we have Reggie, who traded Pierre Garçon and Carson Wentz to TJ for Larry Fitzgerald. Larry Fitzgerald. TJ actually ends up dropping Chris Carson, running back of the Seahawks, to take on both players. Now, I believe that Reggie got the best player in the deal with Fitz, but TJ also received a good wide receiver in Garcon. And Garcon is actually playing with the quarterback that made DeAndre Hopkins, a relevant wide receiver. Carson Wentz adds depth to TJ's squad, and if he actually played him, I mean, he still would have lost, but at least he wouldn't have gotten -5 points from Carson Wentz. I don't expect Andy Dalton to shit the bed so hard and so stinky again, but in case he plays another defense similar to Baltimore that plays fast, maybe he has a different option now with Carson Wentz. Who knows? Overall, I give this trade to Reggie mainly because he got the best player, but it is close because I believe TJ replaced him with someone who will probably give, or should I say, produce 80% of what Fitzgerald would have done by year's end. And he also got another quarterback who I think he can use to flex between him and Andy Dalton, making his team stronger overall. So yeah, overall I think it was a nice trade for both teams. Glad one trade got popped off this week. Here's looking for more throughout the season. And now we're gonna go through some notable pickups. A few pickups were made for $1 here and there, and actually even one pickup made for $5 for Brandon Coleman. I don't think anybody was really fighting you for him, but the best pickup this week was rookie Mike Williams for $0. So guys, don't forget you can bid for $0. And yeah, that's it for this week. Just want to give you guys a quick update for everything. Hope you guys enjoy. Decide to see. Look, 12 minutes. Kept it at 12 minutes. Much better than the last one. I will talk to you guys later. As always, any questions, comments, or concerns, you know where to hit me up. Commish out.